Hi guys, the summer's over, clouds are in the sky, back to work, and it's time to start earning some money again. So here we are, and it's all happening in Poland at the moment, absolutely happening here. So let's start with the good news. Poland, Finland, 5-1, thrashed them, well done, congratulations guys. So for those of you who like the football, I'm sure you're out celebrating with this magnificent win against Finland. It was only a friendly, but what a massive score there, 5-1. Congratulations. So the big news, of course, at the moment in Poland and around the world, basically, is the COVID. The numbers are 4,280 new infections, 76 new deaths, sadly, of course. And apparently this is the worst daily numbers since the beginning of the virus here in Poland. Now, I've done plenty of videos about it, so I don't really want to go into too much detail, but we are quite more relaxed. I mean, Poland generally is a much bigger country than the UK, and certainly when you walk around it, you notice the space. And some people are still wearing masks, of course, it's obligatory in some places, in the shops I noticed, and some people are not. I personally have the face screen, as you know, and I'm still washing my hands and keeping a distance. In the school, we have very strict rules regarding masks and hand washing. But the numbers are going up, so we're waiting to see what will happen. At the moment, everything's been handed to Sanapit, that's the organisation that controls this kind of thing. If you've got a problem, you phone them and they tell you what to do. So there's been a government reshuffle, and Mr. Kaczynski, who's the chairman of the Peace Party, will now be head of the Security Committee in the government reshuffle, and apparently that's going to help us get through this COVID. Let's wait and see. Don't know what you think about that. Put your comments below as always. I'm very interested in your remarks on that. But yeah, apparently that's going to help us. There's going to be some more rules coming out. The laws, the traffic light system is available on the internet now. So we have to abide by those and see what happens. Already in my area, some of the schools have closed. Some of the students are at home in isolation. We're teaching, excuse me, in the classroom, but those who are in isolation can join the lessons on the computer, so they can actually take part. We'll see what happens the next day, but every day we wake up and we play it by ear, take it one day at a time. Poland's going to invest apparently in a green economy. It's called the Green Air Programme. And a lot of the old houses in Poland, they have what they call the furnace, which is where they burn everything, and that heats the house, and you can cook on it and everything else. So they're quite characteristics in some ways. They're a feature of the house. But unfortunately, some people use the furnaces to burn plastic items and old socks and things. And thus, the smoke that comes out is black. And in certain areas you notice that in the air you can kind of smell it. Now, as you know, I have a balcony, so I can see across the rooftops, and at this time of year when people start lighting their furnaces, the black's coming out. I know the government is very aware of that, and in Krakow, when I was there, the mayor invested a lot of money in replacing the old furnaces with gas central heating. So that did it, and the pollution apparently dropped right down. If you've been to Krakow, you know it's in a kind of valley, and the pollution sort of hovers above it. But they did the whole city, but they were unable to do the villages outside apparently. But certainly the city, the pollution is much better now, and that's going to be rolled out across the country with the European Union budget to help do that, to get their emissions right down. And in conjunction with that, Poland is trying to encourage people to use public transport, and cycling is something that has been become very popular over the years in Poland. Many people cycle now, and some cities I noticed have spent a lot of money on cycle paths, fantastic. Others not so much. And in my town, I have been actually campaigning for more cycle paths. It's a very small town, about 30,000 people, but everything is accessible by bicycle if the infrastructure is there. You have the lights and the crossing. And of course, where you have a small town, lots of cars, the pollution goes up. And so the schools, you know, the parents are taking the kids to school, bringing them back, that's more emissions. When I was a kid, I cycled to school every day. It was about 6 kilometers, and I cycled back every day, no problem. But in this town, a lot of parents take their kids to school, and I think the kids could cycle more if there were safe cycle paths, because some of the roads are quite dangerous, and cycle paths with lights would encourage more people to cycle. It's healthier, thus people not using the hospital and doctors. And it would just reduce the emission. As you saw from my bike, I had the basket on the back, and I cycled to the shops, I cycled around the town. Everywhere is fairly accessible within 15 minutes, really. So I think all governments should take that on board, invest in cycle paths, and also the green energy. I know the Polish government is investing a lot of money in the wind, they call the wind farms, and to try to become more green. I mean, in the future, obviously electric cars will become the thing, and then electricity will have to be produced cheaper and cleaner. I remember seeing, I think it was last year, where the Polish government were thinking of, or planning to build a nuclear plant, because at the moment there isn't one. I think other countries like Germany, France and Italy will have several nuclear plants. In Poland we don't have one, understandably, I know because it happened in Chernobyl, but the technology now is far more advanced, and I think there was a plan to have one built in 5 years. Not sure what's happened about that. If you know, write it below. If you have an opinion, write it below. I really, really appreciate that. The BBC is planning to air a programme. I thought this was quite an interesting story when I was looking for something to report today to help you find out what's going on in Poland at the moment. And they're airing a programme about a Nigerian jazz player who was living in Warsaw. And his name was Ali. And he was actually a participant in the Warsaw Uprising. He was the only black person who fought in the uprising, and there's a plaque with a picture of him in Warsaw, and the BBC are going to do a programme about that. And I know that he is commemorated amongst Poles for his action at that time. Very, very interesting story. Maybe you want to check more on it. It's quite a nice story to read. If you've got any opinions or know more about it, please write them below. Government reshuffle. Yeah, that's the big thing here in Poland, the reshuffle. Apparently the reshuffle is going to help us get through the COVID. Well, Mr. Kaczynski, the chairman, will be the head of the security committee in this government reshuffle. That'll give him a new position. And what's your opinion? You know, if you follow politics in Poland, what do you think about this? Is it going to be better, be worse? Do you think it's going to make the government more structured? Will it be giving us, you know, more advice about what to do with the COVID? Will it help with the inflation? Your opinions below. I don't know. I really don't know. I just heard yesterday, so I checked it today, that this would be his new position. And as you say, watch this space. But I'm always interested in your comments on this, and I thank you for that. Mushroom picking. Yes. How many of you miss picking mushrooms? If you go into the forest, the green, well, not the green now, of course. The trees are orange and yellow and golden. It's like walking through a painting. Let's see how I describe it. Imagine a painting of beautiful autumn colours, and you could walk through the tunnel of the trees. It's like that in Poland when you walk through the forest. The colours are gorgeous. And I often do that, and I've never got tired of that. The beautiful array, particularly around here where we have all the forests, it's absolutely stunning. And while you're walking through admiring this beauty of nature, you will see many people with their buckets bending over looking for mushrooms. Yep, that's what it is, they pick mushrooms. And there are many different kinds of mushrooms, but I'm not an expert. I tried it once. I found one mushroom in an hour, and I thought, okay, I'm going to the supermarket to buy some. So But many people, they know all the mushrooms, there's many photographs on Facebook, and there are very many different types of mushrooms, the small ones, the crooked ones, the bigger ones. And they cook them with soups, they use them as sauces, they put them as a complement to other food. Very, very popular. And also, you'll find them sitting by the side of the road, selling them in jars with the black little berries that they pick as well, and delicious, of course. I mean, I might not be a picker, but I am an eater, and I appreciate good food. And very often, I know with some of the mushrooms, the little brown one, they make into a sauce, and they have that with their meat, and it's absolutely wonderful. So, yep, mushroom picking is the big thing at the moment. So get your bucket and off you go. But don't pick the poisonous ones, because you're going to be really ill if you do. Caviar, talk about mushrooms. Did you know that caviar, that Poland is the third largest caviar exporter in Europe? Now, when I first came to Poland, I was very surprised to find in my supermarket little jars of black caviar and red caviar, and at that time, I think they were like 7 or 10 zloty, which was cheap for caviar. And I used to buy these things just for the snobbery of being able to eat caviar. And I would buy the smoked salmon, I have my caviar. And what I would do is, essentially, because when I came to Poland, you had the potato cakes. And one of my students taught me to buy the potato cakes, obviously heat them up in the pan, get some salmon, smoked salmon with some kefir or cream, and I would put the caviar around them as well because it was cheap. And it was a great meal, something completely new. But yeah, apparently you have the third largest caviar exporter in Europe. And they all go, of course, to Italy, France, and Germany, etc., etc. And it's in Olsztyn, which is the next town from here. And Poland, just by the way, you are the largest exporter of frozen strawberries. Did you know that? Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? The largest, I think, in the world, I think you are the largest exporter. So buy your frozen strawberries. They probably came from Poland. Support the economy. Yeah, there's a big business over here in frozen strawberries and frozen raspberries, but they all, obviously stay here, but a lot get exported. The Polish government the other week decided to ban fur farms. That was another surprise for me. I didn't realise that, again, Poland is the largest producer, I don't know if it's again in Europe or the world, correct me if I'm wrong, but mink, apparently there are farmers who farm mink. And I think, depending upon your point of view, okay, now that's for you to comment below on what you think. But apparently, the industry or the fur farms, which are run apparently very professionally as far as fur farming goes. I mean, it's the same with meat production. It depends upon your point of view about professional production. However, there were a lot of people in the villages who had pretty dodgy, use the word fur farm in a loose sense of the term, and these people gave a bad reputation to the professionals. Thus, the government, under pressure from certain groups, decided to completely ban it altogether. Now, I didn't know this at all, that Poland had fur farms for different animals. And I drive around Poland, I saw these sheds and I thought it was turkey farms, but apparently some of them are fur farms, so they've been banned. What's your opinion on that one? The fur farmers are very angry. There's a fur farming association who represent them. They're also very angry. Go for it. Write down what you think. I'm interested in both sides of the argument. It's like vegetarianism. I teach in a meat factory, and they produce balinki and hams and things. It's called Molini. I know it's run very, very, very professionally. If you don't eat meat, then for you it's not, it's not a good thing to do, and others think it is. I really like your opinion below, please. James Bond was a real person, and that was a good story, wasn't it? Did you see that? James Bond was sent to Warsaw to spy on Poland during the Cold War in the 1960s. And this was 2 years after the first James Bond movie, which was Dr. No. And I think he found it a bit difficult because the movie Dr. No came out with James Bond, and then 2 years later they send somebody called James Bond as a spy. It's kind of going to create some suspicion. And apparently after a few months he came back and said, I can't do anything out there. But apparently he was also a bit of a cocktail drinker and a womanizer. But it was a lovely story. There's a picture of him with James Bond underneath. And whether Ian Fleming knew about that before he went out, whether that was the inspiration for his books, who knows? Any comments, any thoughts on that? Write it below, it'd be really interesting. So that's what I found in the news today. I put it out there for you. I really appreciate your comments. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the lovely comments, the detailed ones. When you write something to explain something, is what I call education. And some of you have very, very, very smart, very clever comments, and I learned a lot from them. The one I did about the blocks of flats, I didn't know some of the stuff that you wrote, so I thank you for that. Thank you for putting the time to watch my video. I thank you for putting the time to write, and I hope that anybody else who reads them will learn something. And also I thank you for any research that you've done, any opinions that you have. I thank you for the nice things you say about me, and and your comments are read. What I want to say is that if I press the thumbs and the heart, it means I have read the comments. If I haven't done that, it's not I haven't read it, it's just like I told you before, if I press the button, I can't seem to get your name. I don't know why it just won't respond to it, so it's really not personal. I do read every comment. So I want to thank you for that very, very much. I mean, if I get 300 viewers, 500 viewers, 80,000 viewers, it doesn't matter. If one person likes what I do, I will keep doing it. And a lot of you are writing very, very nice things. I know you from around the world. And some of you like to know what's happening in your country. Others have opinions, what's happening. And I do this just for the fun of letting you know what's going on here from a perspective of an Englishman living here. Talking about Englishmen living here, I get quite a few comments from English people who are planning to move to Poland with their wives or their family, their children, girlfriends. And I notice over the years that more people are coming to Poland. I'm suggesting probably this could be because of Brexit, which means I must get my Polish passport. I keep meaning to do that. It's interesting. I belong to a Facebook page called Brits in Poland, and there are about 1,800 of us on it, but I think the figures in Poland now are, there's 35,000 Brits living here. You might say it's too many. Okay, fair enough, write it below. But a lot of Brits live in Krakow and the cities, but some choose to come here after retirement and live out in the country, in the villages or the forests, and have a quiet life. So yeah, what's your opinion on that? Are you surprised? Are you not surprised? I mean, everybody loves living here. The comments when we talk about things, if we have problems, we try to help each other with those problems. And some of the Brits are very, very smart, and they speak Polish fluently. They have Polish companies, etc., etc. So, yeah, what's your opinion about that? Say Brits are coming here, and we don't actually form, like in Spain, they have lots. If you've been to Spain, you might have seen the Brits fish and chip shops and the pubs. In Poland, we haven't done that, and I wouldn't like to do that. I think that, particularly in my town, we have 3 Brits. We don't meet very often. I socialise a lot with my Polish friends. I have very, very, very nice Polish friends, and from all different backgrounds, and we go for a beer or we go for a pizza down by the lake. I never wanted to have this sort of expat community. I like to have on the Facebook, because we keep in contact with what's happening. We help each other if there's some problem in Poland that we don't quite know how to resolve. But for drinking or going out or chatting, I mix with my Polish friends, and I'm very happy with that. We have in this town a fairly, it is a kind of multicultural, but we have a Nepalese restaurant now. There's a gentleman come over from Nepal, and it's a great, great restaurant. It's lovely, really nice. We have, of course, as those of you who've been to Poland or are Polish, kebabs are developing everywhere, and when I talk to the owners, they're from Bangladesh, and selling kebabs, so they all speak English. So I guess that there's a kind of underlying, very small immigrant population like me. In Australia, we've got Bangladesh, Nepal, there's a guy from Tunisia, there's people from Scandinavia, and one guy from Zimbabwe. and also Ukrainians have come here to work as well. And it's very interesting because it's a small town, and we do have these immigrants like me. I'm an immigrant, and we get on really well together. Everybody does, the Poles and all of us. There's no problem in this town at all. And I think reflecting around Poland generally, we get on with our lives. You know, we work, we contribute, we pay taxes, we don't get into trouble with the police, and that's the same with my other, my other friends who come from other countries. We get our heads down and we just get on with life, and that's good. So I think it's a very positive thumbs up, because I know sometimes that Poland gets a bad rap for some things, but my experience is that generally Poland is a very tolerant society. I think there's always a small group, like in every country, but where I live, and I've not seen anything different in other places, it's a really great country. People are very friendly. If you respect people, respect the law, don't get into trouble, live and let live. And I found it everywhere over here. That's why I stay here. So on that positive note, thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. If you like this video, let me know. If you like these little news reports, let me know. I can do some more. And whatever you're doing, have a great day. Stay healthy. And I'll see you next video. Take care of yourselves. Keep smiling. Peter Dow, an Englishman in Poland. Update on news. And I'll do another video soon. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.